All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here early, as we always are. We always do a little half hour before the show. Welcome to Eight Questions with. We are back at noon start, official start, with our guest, Thijs Meuwese, a Dutch filmmaker, screenwriter, all around genius. Yeah, we're a little early because hopefully you guys will all show up. Some of you guys will show up, keep me company while we wait for our guest. And of course, we're looking for your help in sharing us out. If you could share us out, that'd be awesome. Um, so that'd be cool. Looks like somebody came in and they already gave us a like. I appreciate that so much. Well, let's get this cracking. You know how we got to do it. Got to share it out with everybody. Of course, on the west coast, it is early. It is really early. But in Europe or in the Netherlands, it's actually 6 p.m. They are 6 hours ahead of us. Whereas in the UK, they're 5 hours, and in the Netherlands, they are six. So yeah. Oh, uh, we are trying to reach the biggest groups first. We'll head over to Churchill's group. Thank you, Thomas, for letting us always promote. Thomas Churchill has a massive group here on Facebook. Um, uh, got over 10,000 soldiers in it. Totally fun. Uh, since nobody's here to hear me rattle off, I just talk to myself, keep me company while I share this out. Yeah, Thomas Churchill, he is the director of the Amityville Harvest. Yep, and he is a super nice guy. Actually, he's filming a movie even as we speak. I had hoped to get him on the show this month, uh, but unfortunately, uh, they're filming, so more and more things are being ramped up. So it could be a little bit harder to get some guests, but that's to be expected, right? Marshall from Mellow Nomadic Adventures. Marshall has been also super supportive and letting us promote Eight Questions with. So we're going to give a shout out to Marshall. John's here. John will be getting the next. John will actually be getting the next round, uh, unless John's already sharing it out. If John's already sharing it out in Doomsday's Crypt, then I will move on to another group. John, how you doing, brother? Man, it sounds like you had an absolute blast. Crypticon, looks like you just had a total hoot. I'm so happy for you, man. We're all really pulling for you. Hopefully, you broke even, right? Um, I hope so. That's what we're all hoping for. We're so rooting for you. I know it has so much stress for you, but it sounds like it went really, really well. You met a lot of really nice people, and yeah, that's really the key, right? All right. Our guest will be here at noon sharp. Noon sharp. I am just sharing out. So, whew. All right. Let's see if I can get this over to the other group. Uh, oh, I did not notice that. It seems like we gained a soldier here. There was 124 in here. Now there's 125. Oh, I should need to see who's new. Hmm. Well, I'm not sure who you are, but just thank you that you are here. Uh, I will go over there and see if John has. And John must be tired. Let's see. Ah, that is cool right there. All right, slide on over here. Drop this down. John is also over 1,000 people in Doomsday Crypt. That's awesome to see, and they seem to be pretty active. That's also good to see. Yeah, these early shows like this, these early interviews, yeah, I know I could record them and play them later. I just feel like for live, I like doing them live. I know I'll probably lose a little bit of instant following, instant people in the chat for that. But I'm willing to do that just to be live, for the spontaneity of it. Um, oh, I gotta drop some on there. Oh, let's see. Let's do some. All right. I'm not sure exactly who I should drop this on. I should drop it on Joanna. Try to get Joanna in here. Let's see. Oh, okay. off for Gore. And I'll drop this off for Jerry and Amanda. Let's see if I can drop this over at. Let's do this. I can do this quick. Well, hopefully everybody had a good weekend. We had a pretty good midnight hour show. We talked exploitation films. Um, Jennifer Tolchi and with Jennifer Tolchi and Undead Nightmare 24 Leon was there. Had a great show. And next week we will be hosting John Oak Dalton. He is a screenwriter who's written many films for Mark Colonia from Wild Eye, and he's also written a movie called Scarecrow County that is actually doing very, very well in the sales charts. He's been dropping data off on his page, and yeah, that's doing really, really well for him. I know that Hobbs and I are each looking to buy a copy of that movie because we both like Scarecrow movies. Um, and he will be on the midnight hour on my channel at on 10 o'clock Sunday, the 25th. We'll also be up on my channel at 7 p.m. along with Knight, Jerry, and Coriander from the Night Watch Zone, along with Ben and Team Gigan from Cadaver Club, and of course myself and the Cheetah will be here for ISC night. We are taking a look at Aslan Clark's The Devil's Doorway. I was gonna try to get her on the show, but since this is a really sort of quick show, it's a retrospective more or less, and generally the show is like 35, 40 minutes. I decided that I'm going to wait and going to try to do an interview with Aslan in September. Um, I think that would be great. And if I can land the interview with her, then I might have like a little bit of a roundtable. I might go ahead and invite Corey and Knight and Ben to come with me to ask Aslan some 8 questions. I think that's probably how I'm going to handle it. And so I'm going to set that up. And then, yeah, because once in a while, having a co-host is not a bad thing for 8 questions. We had that last week with Courtney Gaines and had a sensational show. Really enjoyed that, and so did Courtney. That's what I was really happy about most about that interview last week was we surprised him with some really strong questions and he really was happy about it. He was really, he really. If you watch the interview, you'll hear him say how pleased he was that we asked him about his acting and how his process works, instead of just like asking questions about Children of the Corn, which he's answered 10,000 times. Um, so he really had a great time with us. It was a great interview. Josh came through, had a lot of great questions. We had a hot chat for Courtney. Um, need to get that interview out though a little bit more. So I got to work on that a little bit more. Oh, hey Corey. Uh, Yeah, I just got done mentioning that. I just mentioning that I was going to try to set up an interview with Aslan Clark, the director of The Devil's Doorway. I'm going to set her up with an 8 questions interview, and then have you and Knight and Ben come with me, and we'll have like a little bit of a roundtable and do the interview that way. She's a wonderful lady and a hell of a director. Um, so I might just do that. So if you're here, that's the plan. But thank you so much for your support. And yeah, that's awesome. Uh, yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so too. She's a really talented director. I have a film I'm going to send your way that she did, a short film. I'll send that to you, and it's one for the books. I still have yet to review it because I still got to kind of wrap my head around it a little bit. It's really interesting film, um, but she is cool as hell. Ashlyn Clark is definitely one of my favorite people that I've interviewed, and by now you probably already watched The Devil's Doorway, and that movie is really really good. Um, yeah, it's definitely different. Um, so I'm looking forward to Sunday very much as well. Yeah, I'm gonna have to convince you guys to quit supporting that A24 crap. Hey, I'm gonna pick Hereditary again. Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm a little obsessed, but you know what? That's how I am. Thing. I'm gonna send. Oh, we haven't watched it yet. Yeah, I mean, I'm really anxious to see what you think. I think it's a really good movie. The first half of the movie, Coriander, really listen to it. That's the part of the movie that's really gonna stick with you. The first half, the history lesson, that will stay with you. Um, Sensational movie though. Um, yeah, I wish it had been 90 minutes. 73 minutes is very quick. It's a really fast paced movie, and it definitely could have used an extra 10 or 15 minutes on it to uh, to flesh it out a little bit better. Um, but yeah, but thanks for coming by. That's we're gonna hope to have a great stream. Uh, ooh, this is the part that's always gets me. It's the sharing out part. It's like oh boy, here we go. Uh, You want to share it out, but you also want to make sure that Facebook doesn't come over and crush your nuts. Uh, it looks like they figured out how to block trolls a lot more effectively. That's interesting. Do, 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 do. All right. If you're here waiting, please step up and say hello. I'm just sharing the stream out. Our guests will be here at 12 sharp. Yeah, come on in and say hello, and or if you want to, you can hang outside. And but if you could share us out, that'll be rocking and rolling. We definitely would appreciate that. Yeah. I don't think I've ever done this on LinkedIn. I wonder how that will work. Let's see. I'll see. I will see. This is new. Hopefully they like it. Let's see. Hmm. Huh. All right. Let's see it. All right. I think I did that right. I think I shared it. But I need to, yes, that's what I need to do. I need to join. All right. I can't be just sitting there using Kevin's room if I don't, I need to follow him. So there I go. So now we're going to share on Reddit. Uh, yeah. Unfortunately, that's about it. All I can really share on here because I don't know the rest of these platforms. I don't have Twitter or anything else. Oh, that looks Russian. Of course it is. Uh, well, so we got about 8 minutes before we start. Uh, Hopefully, some people will come in at 12, expecting us to start at 12 sharp. Um, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but generally, the rule of thumb is whatever the start date I have for a show, you can put on a half hour before the guest gets here, like now, so I can actually share it out. And then we start the show at when the guest gets here. We make a little small talk. You know how that goes. You watch Johnny Carson, you watch Seth Meyers. You know how it rolls. Then we'll get the interview going. Um, but sharing out is like because we're so small. We're small, so we need all the help we can get. I think I did that already. course. Oh, thanks, Hobbs. Sweet. That's awesome. Yeah, it's early, It's just the same thing that happened with Kelly. Um, because she was 5 hours ahead of time in the UK. Thijs is actually 6 hours ahead, so it's 6 o'clock over in the Netherlands. But of course, it's also 3 hours. It's also 3 hours. It's only 9 o'clock on the West Coast, so people are still sort of somewhat waking up or heading into work. So I don't expect to get anything from the West Coast. Um, I hope to get some folks here in the East Coast and in Europe. That's really what I'm hoping at. So anytime I do an interview this early, it really is just all about the replay. I don't expect to see anybody here. Um, not that much. If we get a few heads here, that's awesome. But yeah, it happens. Um, oof. Uh, well, I tell you one thing too is tomorrow we like the next 2 days we're back at our regular time at 8 o'clock. Um, on Thursday when we interview Sean Anthony Robinson, we're interviewing him at 8 o'clock here, but it'll be 10 o'clock in the morning Friday in Australia. Uh, so that's gonna be really strange. That'll be a good run right there. Yeah, you know what though? Our replay is really good. Our replay is rock solid. A lot of people like to watch what we do afterwards. 30% is really good. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean that's outstanding. Um, I mean, so far everything is that I've done here is done pretty well. My interview with Jimmy is a little bit lacking, only in the sense because he got put in Facebook jail, so he hasn't been able to promote his interview yet. He won't be able to until August 1st. So I fully expect to see a jump in numbers once he's able to do that. Um, wow, episode 3. Okay, that's awesome. You know what? That's what I put down I put down the playlist and every single review that I do. I still got to fix I got to fix my 10 movies that because I did a list that Jonathan did from Platex X2, 10 movies that make you cry. So I did that, and then after I do my interview today, I'm going to be doing my review for uh, the Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. Uh, if you look, if you look at the cover of Scarecrow County, they paid homage to this movie. It's basically the same picture, except that the on Scarecrow County, their pitchfork is down, whereas this one or up. This one's down or up. I guess this one's up too, but it's definitely a homage to this movie. So that's great. I'm so happy. Thank you, Amanda, for hearing this. Thank you, Amanda, for watching our old past episodes. Um, that's cool. Um, see if I can get this out for a couple more heads. Uh, it's tough. I know it's tough. To get people over here middle of the day. I talked about last week's show too. I really like last week's show too. I did. I thought the exploitation episode was really good. Um, I want to go back to that. I want to repay. I want to go back to revisit that. I have a lot more. Yeah, I think so too. Like I said, for this for a show like this, um, I'm hoping to turn 50 views, after it, and then move on, then aim for that. 160, that's not bad. We'll get to 180. It's gonna be another 180 show by next Sunday. Those are rock solid numbers, for us. And considering we had no star, we didn't have any guests or anything, and so not bad at all. I'm totally tickled with that. And it'll slowly build off that. It's like a baseline. The baseline is like, for the week, it'll run it out for a week, and then it'll just slowly build. And here is our guest. Greetings, sir.
Hello.
All right. Oh, yeah, we're talking about our Sunday show that we do on the Sunday podcast that we do called the Midnight Hour, and because there's a few groups of us in our little communities that each do a show like that, and we have like the smallest room or the smallest footprint, so we have to work that much harder to get people to come out and watch us. So we talk about our numbers and how hard it's just the same as like trying to get someone to watch your film, watch your TV show or whatnot. You have to go out there and promote it, and hopefully people will find you and watch you, and then you know watch after your show is over with. Greetings. This Our friend Hobbs is here. He's my co-host from the Midnight Hour, and so we have a couple of people here. I shared this out. Um, so greetings.
Hello. Nice to be here.
I am looking behind you, and what is that I'm looking at behind you? That looks familiar to me. Is that Ecto One?
Yeah. And the DeLorean.
Damn, nice. And a at
Yeah. And a Pac-Man ghost.
and a Batman goes. Well, I like that at though. Look at that. Nice. Well, that's a good way you're surrounding yourself with some creativity there for sure. Now, now, have you had any ghosts in your house?
I don't know. Not that I know of.
I
I
mean,
guess it's okay to live in a haunted house, because then when you hear a creak, you know for sure it's not a burglar.
yeah. I mean, if you heard a creak, you just say, "Hey, could you,
Yeah.
keep it
Oh,
quiet
it's the
down there?"
ghost. How
Yeah.
you doing?
Yeah. That would be sort of weird just to trip out your guest. They hear the creaking, they get all nervous, and you just sit there. It's just Barney. Never mind him.
Yeah. I remember this story from an interview with Peter Jackson, who did Lord of the Rings, and he said that when he just got, I'm sure I'm not repeating it 100% correctly, but he said when he just got together with his girlfriend, who's now his wife, she used to live in a haunted house, so he came over there to sleep, and in the middle of the night he woke up, and there was a woman at the end of their bed with a scream on her face, like a constant scream, and he was just sort of petrified and he couldn't move. And then he just lay there and the ghost disappeared. And then the next morning he woke up and he told her, like, I think I saw a ghost or something. And she said, oh, was it a woman with a screaming face?
Oh, so she's seen it too then.
Yeah, apparently.
Wow. Wow. Huh. I wonder if that inspired the Frighteners.
I'm sure this story came from a Frighteners making of special or something like that. Yeah, I'm sure it did. It did.
Because the Frighteners is my second favorite Peter Jackson film after
Frighteners
Lord.
rules.
Yes, absolutely. That movie is so much fun, and it has such it's cool as hell.
Yeah, it's
Um,
really one of those underrated sort of. I mean, everyone who's seen it, I think, likes it, but it's not. It seems like sort of the film watching community sort of forgets it's out there. Like,
you
oh
know,
yeah, the Frighteners.
it's funny. We were having this conversation last Sunday. We're talking about exploitation films, and we were talking about some of the old classic exploitation films that we know and love, but we don't get a chance to really see anymore because over here in America, we don't have what like when I grew up, we used to have there's three networks: ABC, CBS, NBC, and then there was a bunch of independent stations, right? And they showed anything and everything they could get their hands on. Um, Old TV series, old cowboy movies, gangster movies, all whatever. Sometimes they have like a Universal Monsters Week. They show all the Invisible Man or Frankenstein, Frankenstein's Bride, Bride of Frankenstein, that sort of thing. But as the TV networks over here slowly got bought up by all the huge companies like Fox and Disney and whatnot, we have less and less outlets to watch movies like that anymore, and so they're almost lost to new generations because there's not very many streaming services that will air them over here.
Yeah, I
You know,
think it's most streaming services, like 2% of what they have on there is older than like 2000 or something like that. It's
right?
all new movies. But I don't think we've ever had those types of TV channels over here in the Netherlands. It's
How
always been a small amount of channels.
how many channels do you have in the Netherlands?
I think now it's probably like 8 or something, but like back in the day before I was born, I think it was only 3.
So it got up to 8. Well, that's not bad. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, it's better than 3. I mean, we always had.
It depends on the quality of the content, I guess, whether or not it's better than 3. I don't think the overall quality generally on TV programming has gone up. I don't think it did.
Now, do you have like a percentage of your TV that you show to for American series? I know certain countries will only allow like 30% or 40% of American TV.
If those kinds of rules exist, I'm not aware of them. I don't think we have that. No. I mean, growing up, I only watched American shows, really. And
Wow.
that seemed to be all that was on TV, like cartoons, and then when I got a little older, like maybe sitcoms, and then like hour-long shows.
So this is you should give you your proper introduction as deserving you are. Okay, so here I go. This is Thijs Meuwese. Okay. You know what?
You're not far off, though.
I'm just, you know what? I'm just going to call you Antonio after, Antonio Banderas.
Sure.
I'm just going to, it's like, you're the 14th warrior and that's all there is to it. That's it. How about if I do that? We're going to find a Viking name for you.
I don't really know. Eric, I guess, is a Viking, isn't he?
I guess.
Eric the Viking.
Or, at least I can actually say that word instead of just like destroying your name, which is like horribly embarrassing. It's like
Wiki the Viking. I don't know if you had that in America, but that was a huge cartoon over here.
Which one?
Wiki the Viking.
Don't remember that one. Don't. Yeah. Well, not to say that we didn't have it, but God, America is the land of the cartoons, is it not? So you and I have actually known each other for a very long time now.
I think you got into contact with me after you first saw that Molly screener.
Yes. I got a copy of Molly from Art Exploitation for the for Have Cheetah Will View review series, and I put it on. And this is me before the movie. This is me afterwards. Like, holy shit! But that movie was absolutely awesome movie. That is my second favorite movie I have reviewed on my blog. Still holds true. It's right after A Dark Song. It's an amazing movie. I absolutely have a crush on your leading lady, Julia. Uh, she's just total badass, and she's so good, and she's just an amazing movie. Um, the last half hour, I was like a half inch away from sitting on the couch and my ass on the floor because I was sitting there like, holy shit. It's like one of those right there, like, hell yeah, this is awesome. And then I contacted you after that. I actually contacted Kalinda too, because I was like enamored of both of you. And like, you guys are amazing. How did you guys do that? Just an amazing film. Hey, Doom. This is John. I'm gonna say hi to John. Have to say hi to everybody when they come in. Thank you for showing up, John. That's awesome. John just did his first convention. We have we're opening up here in America, and that includes the film conventions, the comic book conventions, and our friend John just did his very first one, and this past weekend in Kansas City, which is in Missouri. And so he did his first convention. Now, do you have conventions like this in the Netherlands?
We're getting into it, but it's relatively new. We're just aping the US convention thing.
Okay. So so you're gonna just have they already started, or are they planning to do it?
No, for the last, I think like maybe 5 or 10 years, it's sort of slowly been building.
Okay.
I mean, it's been killed off by COVID, obviously, but it's. I'm sure it'll get back up if
Yeah.
the world ever gets back up.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, all our conventions here, they're not rocking and rolling right off the bat. There's plenty of conventions that are just slowly coming back together. I mean, I've seen videos of some of the conventions, and yeah, they're not nearly what their numbers are at right now. But they're hoping by wintertime that we'll start seeing those numbers return. Some of them, including the one down in Florida, one guy went and he said that it was basically in a one giant room.
All right. Yeah. I mean,
with some little tables that. I mean, that's just bonkers.
Yeah. Most of the conventions over here, I think, still sort of that. But
I know the conventions are very big over in the UK though. So
I haven't been, but I'm sure I've been to one in Belgium, I think, and that was bigger than the ones I've been to in the net. But I don't go all the time or anything because it's not as interesting as something like Comic-Con or I would imagine to be. But we used to have this thing, which is, I don't know how to describe it. I think it's sort of like the cross between Comic-Con and what I think in America would be called a Renaissance fair. So it's like outside and there's a castle and there's people in fantasy costumes and stuff, but it's also more like a convention than it is like a Renaissance fair in a way. But the setting is like a Renaissance fair. I don't know if that makes sense. And that was huge for a number of years. I went to that a lot as a teenager.
Yeah, I went to the Renaissance Fair in Agoura, California. When I lived in California, I went to the Renaissance Fair every year for 5 or 6 years. It's an amazing event. It's a lot of fun. It probably really was the birth of cosplay over here.
Right.
I mean, everybody dressed in costume, and not only that, but they stayed in character.
Oh,
Not only did they
really?
dress, yes, not only did they dress, but they stayed in character. So it really was like it was really fun. It was really unique. So you hear all
I
the
always
arts,
sort of,
you
I
hear all
always,
the arts and fouls and all that.
I always sort of assumed that it came from Star Trek or something.
Um, I mean, Star Trek had a little bit of a convention. I mean, I think people mostly there in during the early '70s. It was there were some, but not quite like the Renaissance Fair. The Renaissance Fair was held on outside on a ranch, and it was big. I mean, it's a big place. Um, I mean, it's acres. It's
All
acres. It's
right, yeah.
wide open spaces, and so people more and more every year. I mean, before it will start with hundreds, and when I left, it was in the thousands. People had discovered it, so you know how that goes. Once people discover it, then they all roll out for it. So,
Yeah,
but I
exactly.
had a fun. I had fun there. Uh, have you ever been invited to one of these? I mean, as a filmmaker, have you been invited to one to have?
Once or twice, but they're
Okay.
very small. And the thing about the Netherlands is that we don't like the Netherlands. Uh,
Huh?
so like the country where people are the least interested in me as a filmmaker is the Netherlands, because they don't like filmmakers from the Netherlands. They like filmmakers from other countries. That those are special filmmakers from the Netherlands. Ugh. So I don't really like Molly and Kill Mode. They're not released in the Netherlands. It was impossible to find distribution for those movies in the Netherlands. They're released all over the world except for here. Uh,
How the hell can you build a community or a industry with that
well, I
attitude?
mean, there's a film industry there, but there's no community. No, not really.
Um, it's so there's no acting communities. There's no like groups of act like over here. That we have groups of actors who work together. There's a casting call going on over here, or someone needs to help read lines over here. A lot of times, actors will get together over here to do that.
No, not really. But then also the Netherlands is so small. It's like it's comparable to what in America would be a city. So it's easier to get. You're almost always all together, you know. So I guess it's very different. Uh, but there's no they don't the Dutch film industry and the Dutch people don't really like movies that are made here, especially genre movies. I think it's really like a stigma, you know, like Dutch genre movies suck, so people don't want to watch Dutch genre movies.
Wow.
So with Molly and Kill Mode, we didn't even try. Like we knew like the way to make these movies is to make them in English for an international audience, and let's not even try for the Netherlands because it's not going to work anyway. And that's been working out for us like
Right.
really well, because for years we'd been trying to make movies in the Netherlands and it's been very hard. And then suddenly we thought like, wait a second, let's just forget about the Netherlands altogether and just make them for the international market, which is something that's not really done in the Netherlands, which is why so few Dutch films go out across the world. And we came up with Kill Mode originally before Molly, and we pitched that, and that's how we got in touch with like international salespeople and all that sort of stuff, and that's how we were able to eventually finance those movies and get them released. And now I sort of bypassed the Dutch film industry in a way.
It's just it really is heartbreaking to hear that. I just absolutely hate seeing talent go to waste. Um,
Well,
it's
hopefully it didn't go to waste, because we did make those movies eventually, didn't we?
right, but I'm talking about waste. It's like here you go, you got something special going on here. If they supported it, what you're doing in your own country, if they supported it instead of just thumbing their nose at it, you could really build on something. You could have it's a sense of national pride. I mean, and it just staggers me to see that you have to go outside your country in order to get your films made. You would think that someone in your country would sit there and say, "Holy cow!" Especially after seeing the notices and the reviews that you got for Molly. I mean, you sit there and say, "Well, hell, well, hell, we can go back there. We can even go back then." It's like when we were talking on our pre-show. Like my first Dutch movie I ever saw was Soldier of Orange, and Rutger Hauer. Everybody looked at Rutger Hauer. He was like the quintessential Dutch actor, and everybody loved Rutger Hauer. And you sit there and say, "Are there any more like him over there? There's got to be. Let me go over there and see." And yet, because we really don't have that much of an industry, there's really nobody out there really working that much. I just
Well,
find
there
that
were they did try to get more people from the Netherlands in that sort of Soldier of Orange era, and I think a couple other actors and actresses had like one or two roles, but it never really worked out. They never had that. They were never able to follow up Soldier of Orange with something like Blade Runner, because I think that's really what helped Rutger Hauer be a face that had some sort of financial value for a studio.
I think there was a movie. I could be wrong. Hope I'm not. I think it's wrong. There was another Dutch movie I do remember that got a lot of acclaim. It was called The Vanishing. Was that
Vanishing?
I want to say that was Dutch. A man whose girlfriend gets kissed. She gets kidnapped, and then he searches for her, and then finally the kidnapper contacts him, and he's finding
Spoorloos.
her. Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I didn't like that movie. I usually try to be like positive. I was forced to read that book it's based on a book. I was forced to read that book in literature class, so I just sort of didn't like the book. And then I was forced to watch the movie in school. Didn't like the movie because I was already forced. So I was, predetermined to hate it.
Now, something like that, would you go back and revisit it? Because it's a really intense movie.
I might, but I really didn't like the book. But maybe at some time.
So how did you decide to become a filmmaker then? I mean, over here, over here, everybody says Hollywood and dashing off to Hollywood. I mean, what's it like over in the Netherlands? I mean, how do you go to become an actor or a filmmaker?
I just watched a lot of movies, because I used to watch a lot of TV. So I grew up in the 90s, but like we had on TV, it was like reruns of movies from the 80s. So I watched all those sort of 80s movies like Ghostbusters, Back to the Future. Thinking what else? Beverly Hills Cop was huge for me. Blues Brothers, all those sorts of movies. And then in high school, we had, I don't know what the class is called, but like there's a class where you have to do creative stuff, like do drawings and paintings and stuff like that. Like art class, I guess. And they had one assignment where you had to do something in an art medium that you didn't already do in school before. So the only options were either to make a short film or to do like a design a line of clothing, because those were the two art forms really that we hadn't already done. So I liked movies a lot, so I was like, okay, I'll make a movie, and I spent like half a year doing only that, failing all my other classes, I guess. And I was like, okay, this is it. And from that point on, I never did anything else. And I flunked out of high school, and I went to film school, and I only made movies after that.
Okay, but I mean, if that's your passion, I mean, why not? You threw everything into it, so it's going to pay off for you, right?
So far.
Now, what was your? I mean, other than the student film, what was your first movie that you did make?
Yeah, I mean, like Like, you mean like short films or something, or?
Yeah, like short films. Like, what was your first movie that you did that was outside of school?
Uh, I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm not sure. I did some like web shows and short films for a Dutch TV channel, but I think really the first thing that sort of counts is probably Molly, because I did mostly like commercials and other short stuff when I got out of film school. But I was trying to make a feature film that whole time, and at some point I finally got a chance to do that. That was Molly, and that sort of changed everything around. So I think that's the most important one.
So the TV show you did was Photon, then, right?
That's like a web show. Yeah, I did for Jägermeister as a promotion for a festival. Believe it or not,
Okay.
Photon. The 3 episodes.
God,
Um,
Molly was your first. Molly was your first movie. I mean, it's your first.
well, it's my second feature film because my student film was also feature length. But it's
Really?
yeah,
That's impressive.
yeah. It took a long it took a long time to do
I,
that.
I mean, that is impressive though, because over here it's just all about the short film. And, it's like, and I fully, I'm a big advocate for the short film. I think that any director worth their salt should do short films, or do a student film like you did. I think that helps prepare you for, to do a feature film, or you basically cut your teeth on.
I do
Um,
agree that all filmmakers should make, like, if you want to be a director, if you're an aspiring director, you want to make like movies, make as many things as you can possibly make. Like, don't wait until the money comes rolling in. Just go out, film it on your iPhone. I don't care. Like, everyone's got friends. Everyone can find an actor somewhere or something. Write down a list of all the things you have that seem like they're production value and write something based on that. I don't care. I think that's very smart. But I also think, as a sort of counterpoint to that maybe the short film is dying a little bit because now everyone, like, cameras are so cheap. You don't have to shoot on 35 mil anymore or something like that. So anyone can go out and basically make a feature film. So I think like what used to be the short film is sort of replaced by micro budget feature films, I think, slowly.
I've had this. I had a discussion with this on another show. There's a couple of there's like two or three directors over here in America that we talk about a lot, and one of the gentlemen that I talked to, he was an actor. He is also a producer, and a director in his own right, but mostly he's been acting. And my question to him was, um, what's more important? More important to me, I feel, as a reviewer, when I watch a movie, I'm actually sort of the opposite. I feel like I've seen a lot of movies where they don't have enough money. They'll have $1,000 in their hand, and then they'll just run out there and make a movie, and the movie is not that good. It would have been really helpful if they would have waited until they got $2,000, then go out there and make a much better movie for that 2,000. It would have showed, it just comes across as a little bit more detailed and a little bit more, like professionally made.
Yeah,
A lot of
maybe, but also make a movie with your 1,000 and then use that to get 2,000 for the next one, and then use that to get 4,000 for the next one, etc. Like, what I feel happens a lot is directors haven't really had a lot of experience on set. Like, because if you're a lighting assistant, and what you do is you set up light, you're like a best boy or something. You can just go out there and be on sets all day every day because there's always some work to be found somewhere if you're good at looking for it, obviously.
right.
But if you're a director, you have to make the work. No one's going to hire you because you're the first person who wants to get that project off the ground. So I think what happens a lot is that directors want to make a big movie, but they've made like 3 short films, which comes to a total of like 9 days on set. That's no experience. How is 9 days is nothing close to experience. And I think what helped me is that my student film was a feature film. We had 40 days on set for that.
Yeah.
That's already, so I came out of film school with like my latest project on its own was 40 days of like directing experience, let alone like short films and other things that I've made. And I've always felt that that was of huge value to me to have that.
Sure. The more you're on set, the more experience you gain. I'm with you on that. That's to me again. That's the reason why you wait though, because you have that $1,000. You run out there, that money's only going to carry you through maybe 5 days of filming. But if you have $2,000, if you have a bigger budget, you're a little bit more patient. Maybe you can get maybe 10 or 12 days of filming and add it to your experience. But I mean, that's just, that's just how I see it. I just feel like I just like to see someone wait. I think it's more important to wait till they get a good budget. But then again, your situation over in the Netherlands is totally different from here. Your experience there is way different from over here. I mean,
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure if I lived in the Netherlands, I would probably see it the way you do. How many days did Molly take to shoot?
Like 35, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't time efficient on Molly at all. We didn't have a first AD because we didn't have money in the crew. So we decided, you know what? Let's do it without the first AD, which was a bad decision. So we ended up shooting for 35 days, but it should have been less.
Did you have a second unit?
No.
Oh, yeah, that would, yeah. So you couldn't.
No. I've never shot with the second unit.
You haven't? Okay.
No.
So I want to talk about Molly now because everybody here is in the chat is going to be hearing me talk about Molly a lot. If they haven't already heard about it. Molly is just an amazing movie. It's set in a dystopian future. It's a beautiful mix of. I looked at it sort of like a little bit of a dystopian meets X-Men, because Molly's how would you describe Molly? Would you describe Molly as a mutant, or is she was she a developed weapon, or her character? I saw her as having abilities already, and they enhanced them. They brought them out to the forefront.
Well, if you watch Molly, you're not really supposed to have an answer to that. We never explain how the apocalypse happened. We never explain how Molly happened, because I felt like it wasn't really important. I thought what was important was what happened to them in that sort of couple of days that we follow them around. In the bigger lore of the whole thing, if you take Kill Mode, which is a prequel to Molly, into account, and you sort of stack that all together, and the sort of Bible that I wrote for that universe, the idea was that there was a lot of factory farming, as there is in our actual world, and they used to give all those, like chickens, a lot of antibiotics to make sure they don't get sick, and all of those exposure to antibiotics gave a bacterium the chance to grow immune to the antibiotics and then mutate into something that started killing people that we were unable to stop. That's sort of the backstory. And then some company came up, some pharmaceutical company, and they created a treatment that you had to take like weekly or whatever to suppress the symptoms and make you temporarily immune, but you have to keep taking it. It's not like a vaccine or something else, or it's not, there's no cure. And then they discovered, the people working at that company, that there was a girl out there who sort of Resident Evil style had an opposite reaction to that bacterium, where she sort of, instead of growing weaker and weaker and then dying, she just kept growing stronger and developing all this sort of supernatural abilities. And that was Molly. So they kidnapped her, and that's sort of trying to free her. That's what Kill Mode is about. That's the story of Kill Mode. And
Right.
then Molly is sort of takes place several years after Kill Mode. So she would have those powers as a sort of complete freak sort of reaction to that bacterium that was created because of human capitalism and ignorance.
I just felt like, and you're right, though. I mean, you're right. You didn't have to explain, but yet in the opening scene, you sort of did without explaining anything. Because you're sitting there and you see that beach scene, and you're looking out over the water, and you see the background, and then you have to watch it carefully. You have to watch it carefully. In fact, I had to go back twice to catch it, because you're sitting there, and then all of a sudden you see the mushroom clouds come up. Then you knew that war had taken place.
Yeah, there's one explosion on a drill island. What's that called? An oil rig, I think, is what it's called.
Right.
And there's one explosion, and then it cuts to the apocalyptic world. But you don't really know what that explosion is, if there's a war or if there's something else going wrong.
It looks nuclear. The way you have the explosion, it looks like the mushroom cloud. You're sitting there going like, oh, okay, somebody must have hit the button somewhere. So 35 days. You filmed it on location, right? You filmed it in the Netherlands.
Well, we filmed the exterior shots on location in the Netherlands, and then all the interiors we filmed in a studio.
Now, is it hard to get licenses for filmmakers in your country? I mean, over here you have to jump through hoops for them, but was it easy to get to go outside shots? Or
it's relatively easy to get a license unless you want to shoot at some really specific weird location where the nature is very delicate or something very special. But the locations where we shot was relatively easy to get licenses to go out there. And also because our crew was so small, for a lot of locations, we didn't even have to get a license. We could just go out there. So it really depended on the location, whether or not we even had to go through all of that.
Now, you did you do the casting, or you and Kalinda both do it, or did you hire a casting director?
Well, Chris, who was the director of photography on Molly, he used to work at a casting agency, and casting in the Netherlands is different. Like, actors don't have an agent really, but there's like one big casting agency who has like all the information, and project like movies and productions come to that agency to tell them we're looking for this, and they go through the bin of all the Dutch actors. That's sort of how it works over here. It's changed a little since Molly, but that's sort of how it worked back then, at least. So he did the casting. He came up with all the suggestions for the characters that we didn't know beforehand. Oh, we want them. And then Kalinda and I would make the decision, oh yeah, let's do it with them, or let's do it with them. But a lot of the actors were just actors we already knew we wanted to work with. And we did that very purposefully because we wanted to work with people that we knew were going to be easy on set, because it was going to be extremely grueling. We had very little money, and we didn't want anyone on set who was going to turn out to be some sort of prima donna or whatever.
Right. I would think that you would not have to deal with that. It'd be one good thing about having a small community, industry, is that every actor is looking for work, and they just want to do work.
No, there's prima donnas everywhere. Like, you don't have to be successful to be arrogant. Arrogance is a universal thing, I think.
I just think it just bite the hand that feeds you.
I mean, in a way, yes, I guess so. And there were actors that were like, that sort of came into the room with demands, and we were like, even if the demands were probably going to be met, like, we want to have like a good lunch on a day. Like, sure, we're gonna have, what are we gonna not have lunch? But even with those demands, we were like, if you come in with demands, you're probably not the person we're looking for, because we don't know how far those demands are going to reach once we're in day 20 of shooting,
Right.
So we really tried to focus on people that we knew were easy to work with. But like for Julia, the main character, the movie was just written for her. Like, there was never any sort of casting thing that was going to.
You and Kalinda really caught lightning in the bottle with her. She is spectacular.
Oh, absolutely.
I just enamored. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, she's so riveting to watch on camera.
There's no performance like that. It's completely unique what she's doing, and the way she sort of combines, I think, that sort of very awkward, stumbling vulnerability with being, to my mind at least, an utter badass. I think is very unique, and I don't think we see enough of that sort of combining those two. Like, weird and awkward people can be badasses. That's sort of, and I think Molly she's socially awkward. The way she walks is very awkward. The way she composes herself, everything is sort of awkward and off, and she's a little weird and kooky. But that doesn't stop her from being a badass, and that's what I really like about that character. And that is all Julia's performance. She's not like that character in real life.
No, of course.
That's what she's acting.
Like, that's why I always, once in a while, I don't know if you ever notice this, but every once in a while, I will grab that picture of her, the publicity shot of her running at the beach, running toward the camera. And
sure.
She's got all those different clothes on and everything else. Sometimes I just love the show. I just love to throw that up there once in a while because I just absolutely love that picture.
It's a cool shot, yeah.
It's a very cool shot. Yeah, because you're sitting there like when I was watching Molly. I mean, I was watching it and I'm sitting there going like, I'm like watching her. She's just stumbling all over. You just want to sit there and say, stand. Like get a base, get a base. I mean, because she's falling, like you said, she's falling all over the place, so she's having a hard time, and you're sitting there going like, you're talking to the TV. I'm talking to the TV like, get yourself a base, lower yourself, you're coaching her because you know that if she ever could set, it'd be all over for everybody. I mean, she'd just blow everybody out. But since she's
Absolutely.
so awkward, it actually shows us her vulnerability, and it does give the bad guys seemingly more of a chance. So you're buying into that more. It's a really nice touch.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly where all the posture came from. I know that she has her head like this instead of normal upright. That is something where she imitated me, because I used to be like this all the time, especially on set when I'm very stressed out. So that's her doing an impression of me. But all the other ways, the other way she's moving and stumbling, and that's just her. I can't remember exactly how we came to that sort of look, but it's.
John's asking, he's asking, where can I watch Molly? And I told him that probably Kino Lorber, now that they've
yeah, I think Kino Lorber owns the rights. I don't know if they've done anything to distribute it. I think maybe the Blu-ray is still on Amazon, or has it been sold out? I'm not sure.
Yeah, because Kino Lorber just got done doing a flash sale. So I'm not sure. I didn't check their flash, or they're going to do a flash sale. I think they're going to do one. I think they're going to do a flash sale.
I doubt Molly's going to be in there. I don't see it on Amazon right now. Maybe it's sold out. I'm not sure.
I know that Criterion just did a sale, and so did Arrow. And that's an interesting question. Let me ask you this as a film buyer. But where do you buy your movies at in the Netherlands? And what
Amazon?
Oh, Amazon. Okay.
Like I mean, we shouldn't support the big companies and blah blah blah. I know, but like, there's no other place I can buy them. Like stores that sell DVDs and Blu-rays, they died out. Like
that
shit died out. I go to thrift stores a lot, but they generally don't have Blu-rays, just DVDs. So for Blu-rays, especially like the boutique, like Arrow and Criterion, Eureka, I think is not in America as big as it is over here, but Eureka is like the European version of Criterion.
Okay.
Eureka is my favorite label. I just order them on Amazon or sites like that.
Yeah, I'm a ISC Midnight guy. That's my favorite. But I've been getting into Criterion a lot more. I actually did my first Criterion haul. I actually went and bought 7 of them.
That's more than most people own nowadays. So,
oh, you know, I'll send you some pictures. I'll send you some pictures of my even here. You can just sit there. I already get grief from all my friends here on YouTube. They give me shit all the time because I don't have all my collection really all tied up like they do. Like they have their collections really all sorted out and on shelves and whatnot. Mine are in bins. A lot of
I have my collection all sorted out on shelves.
Yeah, see, you would just look at mine and just go like, if your collection was your collection reminds me of Molly. It's all over the place.
I think any collection, no matter what way you keep it, is better than no collection. I'm a huge fan of physical media. I think physical media are very important, and I'm very sad that we're losing it. So anyone who buys physical media is all right in my book. I don't know.
John's mentioning, let me know where to find it, Patrick. I will. I do believe that it will be Kino Lorber. I have a feeling Kino Lorber has not done. Probably won't be till Black Friday.
I'm pretty sure Kino Lorber hasn't distributed Molly yet. So if they do a sale, it's probably not going to include Molly.
No, it'll probably be They'll probably wait till Black Friday for that.
No, Molly's not going to be in there. I don't even know if they're ever going to do Molly. So,
they do everything. Are you kidding me? You should see boutique. Boutique labels have never been more hotter than they are right now. Oh my gosh! Just type in like Criterion Wholesale or type in Arrow Wholesale on YouTube and be blown away. People are buying left and right. It's funny because it's like the vinyl records. Vinyl records was going away too, but they had that really core group of collectors, and
like me,
right? Like yourself. For physical media, it's like you, me, John, Hobbs, and it's a small core, but what's gonna do is it's contracting, but it is going to expand. It's going to expand again.
Absolutely. And like boutique labels are still growing. Like they're doing good business, but it's like in general, the general public doesn't want anything to do with that. Is there a way for me to reply in the comments?
Yeah. Are you operating off your phone?
No, I'm on Chrome. I'm on my desktop.
So do you if you open up your YouTube channel? If you open up
YouTube, I'm on the StreamYard thing.
Right. If you sign in, you can open up another browser and sign in YouTube.
Yeah, give me a second. It's just your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, you just go to Have Cheetah Will View, hit that subscribe button. Because this is the right thing to do. Hit the subscribe button, and then you'll see the chat.
I just sent the Amazon link for Molly if anyone's interested. I don't see it popping up yet, but there we go.
Yeah, let me see. I can do that. Let's see. Let me bring are you going to regular Amazon or Amazon Netherlands?
No, just the regular US Amazon.
I could do that. Yeah, that'd be cool. That would be cool because this is the one thing I'm more proud of more than anything else as a reviewer is when I get people buying the movies that I recommend. I just feel that's I feel like I've done my job when I do that. I'm gonna put Kino Lorber. Did you put Kino Lorber, Molly?
No, there's no Kino Lorber release of Molly.
So Molly then. Go Blu-ray.
There's no Kino Lorber. There's only the Artsploitation release, and they're still those are still on Amazon. They'll probably die down now that Kino Lorber bought them, and I don't know if Kino Lorber is going to replace them with a new release or not. Don't know. If they do, I'd be very happy. If they don't, too bad. I don't know why my reply isn't popping up. If can stream it on Amazon, that's great. You might be able to, though. It's not on Amazon Prime.
I'm looking for that Molly. I put art exploitation. I think I made a misspelled that.
Yeah, let me send you the link.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll figure this out. But if someone wants to stream it, they just have to look on the streaming sites whether or not it's there, because I can't check American streaming services. So I don't have those links.
I will find it and I will put it in the description below after our interview's over. I'll put the links down there so people can find it.
Sure.
For sure. Okay, so let's talk about the last bit of Molly, the last piece of Molly. Then I want to go into kill mode. So obviously the last scene is just bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. The last 30 minutes of the film is done as a single take. How did you do that?
Well, we didn't. Obviously, it's not really a single take. And you can see some of the splices where we match two shots together because it's not always done perfectly. I don't think that even matters that much. Like, of course, I would have liked it to be better, but
it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
So that's basically how we did it. We planned the whole thing out on a table with like Post-it notes, and we had to put like several tables next to it just to have that entire scene out there, like who's where in what room and what are they, and we had like floor maps of the different floors of the sort of fortress thing. And then we planned that out, like how much time do we have we need to train for each fight. So when can we shoot it? And I think we shot for like 2 months, which with like time to rehearse in between of each shooting day. And we made each shot so that they would all be able to be stitched together afterwards. And there's one mistake in there, which I don't think anyone can possibly notice, but at some point, either when they go up the stairs or down, there's one time where they go a flight of stairs too much, and they actually go a floor too much up or down, and it's sort of the floor plan doesn't really work out anymore. But I don't think anyone could possibly notice.
No one's watching it because the action is just it's off the walls. It's balls to walls action. I would match your last scene with anything on this side of the pond. Seriously. That's what I said before. You are a genius. You and Kalinda,
I'm not sure if that's true, but I mean, I'm pretty proud of it. Yeah.
It is absolutely insanity. I absolutely love it. It's amazing. And what's really amazing is how, because you did it on such little money. I mean, that really is, that's just, I've seen movies with 10 times the budget, 20 times the budget, and not even come close to what you put on the screen. It's just absolutely amazing film. That last sequence is just, it's awesome. I can't stress that enough. So did anybody get hurt during your filming? I mean, with all that action and all the stunts you guys had going on, the props and everything else, did anybody ever get banged up a little bit, or were you?
I'm trying to remember whether or not there's someone who I'm forgetting, but I don't think anyone got hurt. No, it seems very chaotic and messy because it's choreographed to look like the people who are fighting don't really know any martial arts or don't really know any techniques. It's just like rough and tumble scraps, you know. But it wasn't rough and tumble. It was choreographed quite precisely by the stunt team and rehearsed a lot. So I think most of the time we really knew what we were doing. So I don't think anyone got hurt on Molly. No.
John, you might try art exploitation. They were the distributor before they were bought by Kino Lorber. They might have some extra. I mean, they might have some still in their warehouse. If not, I do, based on what I've seen, you know, from watching other boutiques, I do believe that we will see Molly being distributed on Black Friday. Everybody they throw the whole damn kitchen sink out on Black Friday. Movies that you don't expect to see, they're out there. It's boutiques. It's their happy time. Yeah, I will try to keep an eye out for that too. Maybe check Raven Banner. That's the Canadian distributor. They might have some copies.
No, Raven Banner is Kill Mode. They didn't do Molly.
They didn't do Molly. Okay.
It's really Artsploitation, which has been sold to Kino Lorber, but Kino Lorber hasn't done anything with Molly yet. I'm trying to post the link. I can't post a comment for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. You're signed into YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Do you see have Cheetah Will View?
I can see everything. I can see the other comments, but when I post something, it just doesn't pop up. I don't know.
Oh wow.
Maybe it's because it's a link and I'm not allowed to post a link.
Oh, you know what? That could be it. That could be. You know what? Send me the link through. Send me the link through Facebook.
I just did. Yeah.
Okay. Then I can do it. Yeah, that's what happened. Okay, here we go.
Oh, you have to be the moderator to post the link.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
So that's where you can buy the Blu-ray. As for streaming, I don't know.
I'm sorry about that. Okay, so now Molly's been out, and several reviewers have just fallen in love with Molly. You know, other reviewers here in America has fallen in love with Molly, and things are going well. Now you go back and do the prequel. Now the prequel, Kill Mode, unfortunately has a sad aspect to it. And do you feel comfortable talking about it?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
I know
let's wait for 1 second before we get into Kill Mode, because I think there is some other, like, you talked about Midnight Pulp, or didn't you? Are you aware of Midnight Pulp?
No, I have not. That's a new one for me.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about it, but I think they have Molly on streaming. So I'm going to send you that link as well. You can post it in the comments.
Sure.
I'm not sure if it's still there, but there's like a Women in Action like pack of movies that they collected, and Molly's among those.
Okay.
Hopefully that helps.
Oh, Midnight. Okay. Let's throw that in there.
It might even be free. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
If you want to support me, please buy the Blu-ray. But I mean, if you want streaming because you're not into Blu-rays, any streaming service will do.
No, the people that are here in the chat, they're all physical media people. They're all physical media. Their collections are insanity. Yeah. There's people who, I'm bringing you into a world of it's like going down the rabbit hole. I mean, we got people who they literally have like 10,000 copies. They have 10,000 movies, if not more, between 10 to 20,000. I myself, I have over 5,000.
That's a lot.
I have over 5,000 movies. So, and I'm sure I'll be hearing from Hobbs later on. Once he hears that, he'll be sitting there going like, "Oh hell no, you don't. You got more than that." No, I have about 5,000. So you started to prepping for Kill Mode. You and I remember you and I were constant communication when you were securing your financing for it. You were, and that's one thing I have to say that right now, again, and publicly, is thank you so much for giving me of your time and answering all my questions.
Of course.
I got a free education talking to you. When you walk me through Kill Mode and the whole filming aspect of it, the production and the post production and the scoring. I mean, and then unfortunately the other part that we'll be talking about too, which was a shocker, which was very sad. But now you got Kill Mode, which is a prequel to Molly. Why did you go prequel instead of sequel?
Well, I wrote Kill Mode first. We wanted to make Kill Mode, but we couldn't get the financing, and then everything seemed to, fall apart. And then as a sort of last minute thing, I pitched Molly. I was like, okay, well, what if we do this? It's slightly smaller, and we do this. Can we make that maybe? And then we were able to secure financing to make that. And off the back of Molly, we were able to finally do Kill Mode. But originally, we were always going to do Kill Mode. That was the movie that we planned on doing. So it was Kill Mode first, and Molly was written after Kill Mode.
So because of Molly did well enough that you were able to. Was it easier for you to get the financing for Kill Mode? Because
Kill Mode was relatively easy because we were able to just with most of the same investors just go on, like even before Molly started sort of making money. So once Molly was finished, I think we were in pre-production on Kill Mode before Molly was finished, or around the same time. Like we were immediately off again to make another one.
So once you started making Molly, once you started making Kill Mode, you had your leading actor. Now he passed away, right? He passed away right after the film was done.
I think it's a year and a half after filming was done, but the post-production on Kill Mode was extremely long. So he wasn't able to see the finished film, but he saw the final cuts with like a lot of it in place, but not all the final visual effects.
He died of an illness, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what he died of, but it was sort of a freak accident. He was like young and healthy, and it's just it's a 1 in a million, can happen to anybody. Hopefully, happens to nobody. Is just extremely sad. And he was the greatest guy, and he wasn't just a colleague that we worked with on that movie. He was a friend. And we'd been wanting to make this movie for years and years and years. And it's just extremely sad.
Tremendous loss to you and your the film industry in your country. I mean, losing a young actor, and he was young.
He was in his mid-30s.
Yeah, I was just like, it's just a tremendous blow. You're already in the soup because you don't have that big of a talent pool that you want, and then you lose somebody of that caliber because he was that good. I got to see the first part of Kill Mode, and you could definitely see he was very dynamic. I mean, he was, he definitely commanded the screen when he was on. You guys have a lot of talent over there. I mean, maybe you don't have a lot. I mean, maybe you don't have like.
Yeah, we have very little talent over here. We're just like generally. I feel like we're able to find it.
Right. I mean, it's like. Maybe we don't have like 10,000 actors. Maybe you only have 100, but those 100 are mighty, So how was the challenges? What were the challenges facing you on Kill Mode versus Molly? I mean, now you got a little bit more money. For one thing, I remember you telling me that you had a little bit more money to operate with.
A little bit more.
Little bit.
Well, the biggest challenge of Kill Mode is that it's much more mainstream. It's not as weird as Molly. Molly's an extremely weird and strange movie, so that immediately sets Molly apart from other films because it's very much its own sort of wacky thing. And Kill Mode doesn't really have that. Kill Mode is much more mainstream in the way it's set up. It's really sort of my ode to all these sort of 80s action filmmakers that I sort of grew up on. And I think because it's much more mainstream, and I think some reviewers, there weren't a lot of reviews for Kill Mode, but some of the reviewers mentioned this, like I think it was mentioned on Screen Anarchy, that it was like it's so close to mainstream Hollywood movies as opposed to Molly, which completely wasn't. It's just very different. But because it's so close to mainstream Hollywood movies with Kill Mode, you start to sort of notice that it's not that, if that makes sense. And you're like, okay, but why isn't it 10 Jeeps instead of one or whatever? So I feel like that's a huge thing for Kill Mode that was really challenging to us. Like, how do we make something that just talks in the language of Hollywood and have it be worthy of existing on the same screen where Hobbs and Shaw could be showed? You know what I mean?
Right.
And Hobbs and Shaw, that's so much more money and so much more talent and so much more people and so much more every possible thing that you can have more of.
And yet somehow when you watch it, honestly, it's a movie, honestly, to watch. You go inside the theater, you open your head, you take your brain out, you put it beside you. You eat popcorn, you drink Dr. Pepper, you watch it, you go outside, you put your brain back in, and a week later, you can't remember anything really about it.
Well, I mean, we don't have to get into whether or not Hobbs and Shaw is cinema or anything. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Is it,
It's a popcorn movie.
Is it Kieslowski's Trois Couleurs trilogy? No,
No,
it's not.
no.
I mean, we weren't competing with Hobbs and Shaw in terms of like intelligence or story structure or stuff like that. We were competing with Hobbs and Shaw in terms of spectacle. And there's nothing you can say about Hobbs and Shaw in the sense that they don't have spectacle. They have spectacle. That's the whole thing, is spectacle. And of course, we didn't have the money to do spectacle, but we were making a movie in the genre and in the language of those movies that have spectacle on the scale that Hobbs and Shaw had. So that was something that I was very conscious of. Like, how do we make this movie work on its small scale without you constantly being like, yeah, but if they had 300 million, then it'd be cool.
But the best way you do that, though, to me, the only way you can take a movie like Kill Mode and trip up a movie like Hobbs and Shaw, which is very doable. There's one advantage that you have if you use it versus that they don't have, because they don't use it, and that is a story. If you have a good story, you will have the edge on it every time. Like I said before, Hobbs and Shaw is a popcorn movie. It's all you see is flash bang boom, but you don't hear any story. You don't hear how did this happen from A to B to C to D. All you have is like, let's get 10 cars, let's get 10 cars together and put them on a helicopter. It was just like,
once again, I have to say that I really enjoyed Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, I did too.
I don't want to go on the record as someone like putting down Hobbs and Shaw.
I'll be more than happy to do that. I do. I'm not being elitist. I'm just sitting there going, I like Jason Statham. I like Dwayne Johnson. Okay, and I love Adiras. I mean, Adiras, hell yes, right? Rule number 1, don't ever touch me. Rule number 2, don't ever touch me. Because I'm a Pacific Rim nut, right? So, but I can do that for you. Because I look at what I see, because I watch a lot of lower budget movies. I watch a lot of independent movies, and it's like I don't mind the fact that we'll circle back to that, to the director with $1,000. I don't mind a director taking $1,000 and running off and making a movie for it. I don't. If they have a decent story, if they can tell. But a lot of times, anybody that's rushing out there to do $1,000 instead of waiting for $2,000 is also rushing out without much of a story too. That's what I found in my experience.
Well, I mean, story is everything. Absolutely. Yeah.
It truly.
What are you trying to tell?
That's why. See, that's to me. That's what made Molly such a great movie. Is the story. It's not only is it's a star, though pretty damn close. But no, the story and the directing is. I mean, it's just a really solid, well, above average movie because you told a great story. I am more into that than I am into flashbangs. I don't go watching like Fast and Furious 9. No, I have no interest in that. I just don't. I will watch a character movie. I will watch a drama. I will watch a small sci-fi movie. I mean, those are the movies. Intelligence. I'm looking for intelligent storytelling. I don't want necessarily to a popcorn movie. It has its place, but I don't know. I just prefer your kind of storytelling. I prefer watching something what you and Kalinda did, and then what you did by yourself with Kilmo. I'm more into that. That's the kind of movie fan that I am. I mean, and for the most part, I can actually say there's 2 or 3 people in here that I know, and I'm sure they agree with me on this. They're more story driven than they are effects driven. So that's how I feel about it. And this is one of the reasons why I think you're an exceptional filmmaker, is because story comes first to you always.
That's very kind. It's extremely kind, even. I do have to give some sort of side note there that my whole philosophy, because it's easy to say story comes first, but then also you're not writing a book, so it's not just story really. If all you care about is writing the best story, you could write a book. Like, a book has much more time for words and story and character and all those sort of things that you couldn't possibly fit into a movie. So my philosophy on filmmaking really depends on, why is this a movie? Like, why can't this be a play or a comic book or a book or any other sort of artistic medium? There's so many ways I can express myself. I could do an oil painting if I wanted to do an oil painting, but for some reason I decided to make a movie. And there has to be a reason that it has to be a movie, that this thing that you're trying to tell is best served in the shape of a movie. And that's any idea that I have, anytime I try to make anything, I always put it next to, I test it on that theory. Like, is a movie the best way to tell this story? Is a movie the way I have to express this thing that I'm trying to say for some reason? And if I feel like it is, then I can make a movie, because then it's worthy of being a movie, and it's also worthy of all my time, because it just takes so goddamn long to make a movie. Sorry, I said goddamn.
No, that's all right.
And I think that's really important. So story is very important. Obviously, you don't want to make a movie without story, but you also don't want to tell a story without film. The language of film and everything that movies have to offer, like the kinetics of motion, and I think that's why everyone liked Mad Max Fury Road so much, is because Mad Max Fury Road, like the other Mad Max movies, by the way, there's no way you could do the novel Mad Max Fury Road. There's no way to do a novel. You can't write the novel. You can't do it on the stage as a theater play. Like, what are they going to do? Sit in cardboard cars? You can't do that. You can't do a comic book, because although the comic book of Mad Max Fury Road would look awesome, it's still frames. There's no action in it. The only way you could do Mad Max Fury Road is as a movie. It's the only way to tell that story. And that's why it's so perfect, because it uses everything that film has to offer to its utmost, and I think that's extremely inspiring. And of course, I didn't do it as well as Mad Max Fury Road, because that's like the top of the heap. But that's what I always try to do, both in making Molly and making Kill Mode, is
Oh my
I
God.
try to use the medium of film.
Well, I mean, George Miller had, he has decades on you. His
Yeah,
experiences.
he's the best.
Give,
Like, I don't
give me.
have to compete with George Miller.
Yeah.
George Miller is if George Miller is forever a million times better than me, I'm still doing pretty well.
Like to me, it's like I always say this. It's like this director is someone to keep an eye on. To me, that's how I look at it. It's like, to me, okay, you got Kill Mode out. You also did another short film that I reviewed as well that you did that I absolutely adore too. The Rock and the Hard Place, the Sock in the Hard Place, which I thought was very good. Uh,
Thanks.
held Ope Sock, hard place, and a sock in a hard place.
Yeah, it's in the Dutch title is Held op Sok, but that's a play on words on a Dutch saying. So translating that directly doesn't make any sort of sense. It means hero with the sock, really, but that doesn't mean anything in English. So we came up with the sock in a hard place pun, because she's sort of in between a rock and a hard place during the duration of that movie, and
Right.
she loses a shoe, so she's on a sock. I guess that's sort of the pun. It's not very clever, but
It was that. Now that was a nice little meaty short. I really enjoyed that quite a bit as well. That was a lot of fun to watch. Uh,
thanks.
Again, I can tell right now that one thing I really like about you and I are both a lot like that too, is we do like female heroes.
I do.
Yeah, me too.
I
Me
like.
too.
I like. I don't know. I don't know why I prefer. I guess I just seen male heroes so many times. Like, if I'm gonna do a hero, why not make them female? So that plays a huge part in it. I think I was raised by a single mother. I was raised with no real male role models. So if I have to envision a hero, it's much easier for me to envision that as a woman. That I think that plays a part in it. It's also because women have been so like put down upon by society and the patriarchy, and men have been generally terrible in history towards women. That I feel like there's some sort of underdog quality to having women fight for themselves and standing up for themselves and being able to sort of escape that oppression. That I think is very powerful, and is something that deserves to be told over and over and over until finally 10,000 years from now, somehow we've reached some sort of equality, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. So that all sort of plays a part in it. Um,
Do you write? I mean, when you sit there and write, I mean, what's your process for writing? I mean, do you write a lot? And when you do you write always, like you mentioned before for Molly, you wrote with Julia in mind. Do you always do that when you do your screenwriting? When you start writing a screenwriter, do you always have certain actress in mind, or are you just
Usually I do.
type?
Yeah. When I write a script, I usually have people in mind for every role, even the smaller roles. And a lot of those people don't end up being cast, obviously, because it's never works out that way. Or even when the movie's finished, we're looking for someone in a different direction. But there's always someone in the back of my mind, because people are very simple in a way, but they're also endlessly complicated. And you can never really write all the subtleties of a real person. You can just write the basis of a real person, and then some actor will give it those subtleties, if that makes sense. And
Right,
writing it with a real person in mind helps giving, like, oh, this actor would do that very interestingly, so let me write some more on that. That helps making it less of a standard character, I think. Um, but in terms of like the character of Molly, like that was I wrote that for her but it's nothing like her. So I didn't write it with the actual Julia as a person in mind. I wrote it with her as an actor in mind, obviously.
Right. It's getting. I want to touch one other thing with you because, of course, you knew we are going to have to talk about this. You knew we were going to talk about it because we always do. And I'm sure John and Hobbs is still in there. So, what's your favorite movie? I mean, what's your all-time favorite movie?
My all-time favorite movie is Lord of the Rings, which maybe isn't the answer you were looking for, but that's my all-time favorite. That
surprised me. Which Lord of the Rings? The first one? The first one?
No, the Lord of the Rings is one movie. It's just cut up into 3 parts.
Okay,
that's my theory on it. And the entirety, the 3 extended editions back to back,
right,
to me is the pinnacle of cinema.
I just scored the extended version of Fellowship of the Ring. I found a copy of it in a Goodwill store.
It's magnificent. It's like, how's anyone able to do that? How were they able to make that? I don't even understand. And I'm in the filmmaking business. Like, it's what I do. And I can't even comprehend how much it would take to, over the period of 5 years, shoot a 12-hour masterpiece. It boggles the mind. It's absolutely incredible.
I'm so glad I got the extended version, because I had the Two Towers and I had the Return of the King, and so I was able to watch behind the features, behind the scenes, and Peter Jackson was, they were showing you how they're doing the film on location in New Zealand. It's amazing. It's an amazing movie. It's amazing what they did. I mean, I think they shot the last 2. It took them over a year. I think it took them like 360 something days to do it.
I think principal photography, because they shot all 3 films back to back as one giant production. So they shot all over the place, and they shot scenes for the Return of the King all the way into the beginning, and then they went back and shot. It's all mixed up. And I think the principal photography took about like 256 days, something like that. And then, but then they had lots and lots of pickups.
Yes, yeah, just insanity. Yeah, he had a virtual army at his back. I mean, there's so many people that were working on it. It was
how would you make this movie without that army? Like, it's impossible.
You couldn't.
Even with the army, most people wouldn't be able to do it. Let's be fair.
As much as I love the Lord of the Rings, I do wish there was one thing I would have told Peter Jackson not to have done, and that was not to have done The Hobbit.
Okay.
I would have liked him not to have done that. I did not like The Hobbit nearly as much as I did the Lord of the Rings. I thought it was bloated. I thought it was overproduced. I like the first Hobbit. I mean, if he just did the Hobbit as itself, but the Desolation of Smaug and the Battle of Five Armies was just pure. I don't know. It just wasn't very good.
Well, I mean, I don't think Peter Jackson is really to blame for what went wrong with the Hobbit.
No, I don't.
There were 5 studios involved.
Yeah.
And 1 studio is usually enough to ruin a movie, but there were 5 studios involved, and they kept changing things on him. They gave him way too little prep time to do anything. There's an interesting documentary by Lindsay Alice on YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's in 3 parts, and it's worth looking up. I think it's called. Let me look it up. The Hobbit: A Long Expected Autopsy. And it sort of starts as just a YouTube review, and then slowly it evolves into a fully fledged 3-part documentary on how all of that happened regarding The Hobbit. Maybe he should have said no, but then the studio would have forced someone even less experienced to do it, and it would have probably gotten even worse. It's sad. It is sad because it's not as good as The Lord of the Rings.
No, not by half. I mean, it was nice seeing some familiar faces in it, but it was just like stunt casting. We have to bring these people back so people have a touchstone and whatnot. and it's just like, maybe you shouldn't have just done the movie at all. I mean, it was the thing about it
Yeah.
is, though, the cast of the movie was fine. I love the cast. The
Martin
cast,
Freeman is actually amazing in The
yeah,
Hobbit. Like what he's doing as a performance is like
yeah,
it's top class.
yeah. I look at the cast and I'm going like, holy shit, this is excellent. And in many respects, it's far better than the first Lord of the Rings. But you sort of wish that they would have the cast for the Hobbit. You could have switched some of them people and put them in Lord of the Rings.
I mean, I don't know. Who in The Lord of the Rings would you replace? Like who can be better in The Lord of the Rings? No.
Yeah, probably right.
It's a pretty
one
stellar list of performances.
I would have one question for Peter Jackson though. I only have one question for him. One question about the Lord of the Rings that just bothers the shit out of me. It's just, and you probably already know what it is. Why didn't you have Tom Bombadil in there?
I agree with leaving Tom Bombadil out.
What? Yeah. Oh my God, he was so critical in the book.
I love Tom Bombadil in the book. I don't think he would have worked in the movie at all.
Oh my gosh, I think it would have been amazing because maybe they could have let's see. The Netflix series for Lord of the Rings sounds awful. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to have the budget for that. You got to have the scope for that.
They have the budget for that. They have more budget for the series than they did on the movies. But I'll just wait and postpone my judgment until I've seen it. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, so other than 3-part movies, what's your favorite movie? Other than 3-part movies?
I don't know. I still don't know if it's necessarily the 13th Warrior, but the 13th Warrior is definitely up there because that's what you're fishing for.
Yeah,
you want to talk about the 13th Warrior?
We love the 13th Warrior. You wrote a guest column for me for my blog, which still gets traffic to this day. Cool. And I should run it. I'm gonna have to run it out with this interview, which I still get traffic for. But that movie that's another amazing movie too. But if you go back and look at it, you were talking about why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? It's, in a sense, you look at the Lord of the Rings and look at that cast. I mean, we knew who everybody was. I mean, everybody had a name in that movie.
But did they?
Oh God,
I'm not sure if they did.
Luke Evans, Richard Armitage.
The Hobbit. Sorry, I thought you said Lord of the Rings.
Oh, Well, even the Lord of the Rings, he still had Miranda Otto. He had Carl Urban. You still had John Smith. John Smith. I mean, before he did, he had two of the most. He's in two of the most successful movies ever. He had Titanic and The Lord of the Rings.
Isn't he called Bernard Hill?
Is it Bernard Hill? I don't know if it's Bernard Hill or is it Smith. Maybe the Captain Smith was the captain.
Maybe that's the name of the captain. Yeah. No, his name is Bernard Hill. Sorry.
Sorry
to actually you.
Huh?
Actually you.
No. Is it Bernard or is it John?
Bernard Hill is his name, not John Smith.
But think about it. He had he's in 2 top movies, 2 of all time. I mean, yeah, he's a household name. I've seen interviews with him. He says there's been a couple where he says I can't go out anywhere when they're during the peak of his time because everybody knew who he was. Christopher Lee, of course, everybody knew Christopher Lee. Brad Dourif, even Brad Dourif, everybody knew who Brad Dourif was from the Child Play movies. I mean, it was a tremendous cast. I mean, it wasn't like Sean Astin or Elijah Wood were unknowns. Maybe the 2 other guys who played Pippin and Merry, maybe they were relatively unknown, but Sean Astin and Elijah Wood were very well known here.
Yeah, but none of those people are A-listers. There's no Tom Cruise in there, and I'm not saying there should have been. I think the cast is perfect, but it's still none of them are A-listers.
Yeah. At the time of that happened, I would definitely agree with you. I definitely would agree. I don't think there's any one of them there at that time, except for Viggo Mortensen, that could open a movie. I think only Viggo Mortensen could have opened. He had opened movies. He was the
Had
only one.
he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
He did the End of Violence. He did Eastern Promises. He did
Yeah, but that's after Lord of the Rings.
I don't know.
Yeah, History of Violence and Eastern Promises are both after Lord of the Rings.
Okay, let me. I know he was well known.
Eastern Promises 2007. I mean, he was definitely in movies, but like a lot of people, he was definitely not an unknown, but he wasn't an A-lister. He wasn't like, and I think that's good because that helps sort of create the reality of that movie in a way. Because if they would have cast Tom Cruise, you would have always been thinking, I'm looking at Tom Cruise.
Right. Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, I agree with you that I definitely agree with that. I mean, well, though I will say this, he's actually managed to supersede himself as far as not being like Tom Cruise per se.
He managed to sort of weaponize being Tom Cruise in a sort of cool way, I think.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Viggo Mortensen he been, maybe he wasn't an A-lister, but he'd been in some major movies. He was in Crimson Tide. He was in Portrait of a Lady. I remember that came out. G.I. Jane. He's excellent in that. I'm not sure. Have you ever seen G.I. Jane?
I think I have, but it's
a
very long time ago.
That's Demi Moore's best role she's ever done. Yeah, he did the remake of Psycho. So yeah, he'd been getting up there. I mean, he'd definitely been. But you're right. I mean, he'd done Lord of the Rings, and then he came out and did Hidalgo. Good Lord. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I definitely think the Hobbit had the bigger name cast though. And I think that's what hurt the 13th Warrior, because other than Antonio Banderas, there wasn't anybody that anybody knew. I mean, they're all great actors.
Yeah, they tried to sell it on the writer of Jurassic Park and the director of Die Hard, which sounds on paper like that would be enough to sell a movie, but nothing is necessarily enough to sell a movie. Like there's always an element of you never know. That's the whole problem with films, I think. And they didn't know, and it didn't really do well.
No, I mean, that's something that I talked about this with some other critics a few years ago. There was a movie that came out called Gods of Egypt, and it was written and directed by Alex Proyas.
Yeah.
He got absolutely roasted. He got roasted because he had casted Gerard Butler and Nicholas Costas-Waldau and Jeffrey Rush. He got crushed because he had casted all these actors, basically they're white guys, in all these Egyptian roles. The fact of the matter is, in order to open up a movie, you still, I mean, especially as a theater, maybe not so much now with streaming. Maybe streaming has taken that away, but during the big budget movies, you have to have star power. You have to be able to have some stars that can open your movie. Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, could he have casted 3 Egyptian actors in there? Sure, he could have. He could have went to Cairo. He could have grabbed the first 20 actors he grabbed off there, and he could have put them in the movie, and get that movie would have went like, pew. Because over here in America, they go like, who the fuck's that? And they're not going to come out and spend their money on it. But if you sit there and say it has Gerard Butler in it, it has Jeffrey Rush in it, it had Nicholas Costa-Waldau in it. Okay, I'm there for that. I'm there. And so they all go to the movies. They go because
the question then becomes, if you're unable to make this movie with the cast of people of color that it should have, should you even make it? Or should you just make something else? Because nobody was bothered by The Crow, because The Crow can have a white actor or any sort of actor, doesn't even matter, because The Crow is just The Crow. And if you want to make a movie about Egyptian gods and you're only able to get the financing for it if they're all white actors, I think we've reached the point in sort of trying to sort of do better, where we
Yeah.
should say, well, maybe I'll just make something else then.
I mean, he defended himself basically because he's he's sitting there going like, I'm Egyptian myself, and I'm telling you this is how the game is played, and and I felt bad for him because you know what
Oh, absolutely.
I felt bad for him because I haven't seen it since then, not really. I heard there was a little bit of a pushback when Scarlett Johansson did Ghost in the Shell. There was a little bit of pushback there because she wasn't Japanese, but overall I haven't seen anybody come at a movie like that, Gods of Egypt, other than when it happened.
Well, they've tried to not really do it that bad since Gods of Egypt, I think.
Do you
They've
think
tried.
streaming? I mean, do you think streaming will help your? We think the streaming will help the Netherlands, and the fact that it'll help develop because one of
No.
the questions I ask a lot of actors over here is streaming helpful, and they because there's so many more roles now. I mean, before, like I said, when I grew up, there was 3 TV networks, no such thing as streaming. Cable wasn't even going on back then. I didn't see my first cable until in like 1980. So there was no cable or no nothing. Now it's just like there's so much. There's never been more film projects going on than right now. And to me, it's like, do you think some of that will fall your way?
I don't know. I mean, it would be great. I'm not a big fan of streaming. I don't really believe in streaming. I think it could be great, and it could be the death of cinema. I don't know. I'm not a big streaming person.
Yeah, I don't stream myself.
Um, so I don't know. I mean, if Netflix came to me with a bag of money, would I take it? Yeah, man. Why would why wouldn't I take that money? But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a huge fan of what streaming is doing to the medium of film, and I don't think that's necessarily a good thing.
Uh, uh, yeah, I'm gonna. You know what? That's a good place for us to roll out to a stop, don't you think? Um,
On a downer note,
well, no, I don't think on a downer note necessarily. I do think that streaming will. I don't think physical media will die altogether. I don't. I think
I'm
it's gonna.
sure it won't.
I'm sure it's gonna shrink a little bit, and then it's gonna expand. Um, that's how I feel. I just feel like it's gonna shrink, and then it's gonna expand. Because as much as studios might not want to hear this, but when they turn around and they see the kind of money that these boutique labels are going to be pulling in, and they're pulling in, oh, they got to be pulling in big money now. I mean, big.
And
Because
all those Blu-rays cost like $30, so it's like it also goes a lot quicker. Like if I go to a store and buy, let's go back to Hobbs and Shaw, that already dropped to like $5 now. But like
yeah,
if I buy some 70s movie from Criterion, it's still $30
yeah,
because it's a special thing.
yeah, and it holds its value. Box sets are really popular right now. Like Arrow
Absolutely.
box sets. I mean, I was sitting there because I was like, I haven't really bought anything like that, and I was thinking, wow, I'd like to get that Gamera box set.
I
Arrow.
just ordered that.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Nice, nice,
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah.
Uh, do you mind me? No. Do you mind me asking how much did you pay for it though?
I got the Showa era box set, not the one with the
Oh,
two combined, because that's like a limited thing that was sold out very quickly. So I went for the Showa box set, and if I really enjoy that, I'll go back and get the Heisei version.
okay.
I think I paid 50 euros. I don't
That's
know what
oh,
that is in dollars. 60 maybe, something like that.
yeah. So you did the Arrow 50% off sale. We had that over
No,
here
that's
too.
just that's the price it's going for, I think.
Oh, okay. They had the Criterion have 50% off sale, and so I did my first poll. My first time I did Criterion. I'm so happy about that. I'm like, wow, I feel like a real collector now. And
What did you buy?
I got I got scanners.
Yeah.
I got let's see, what else did I get? I got scanners. Holy crap! See, I have so many. It goes through my brain. Let's see. I got good stuff though. Oh, okay. So I did two. I did it in two hauls. I did one part for $5, and then a friend of mine, he pinged me. He was showing off his haul, and it triggered me because I thought this one thing I wanted. I thought it was out of print. I didn't think it was. I didn't think they had it in print anymore. So I didn't even look for it when the sale started. But I fixed that. So I got scanners.
Nice.
I got Rebecca by Hitchcock.
Sure. Yeah.
I got a French movie. Blue is the warmest color.
Okay. I wasn't too big a fan of that movie.
I got The Lone Wolf and Cub.
I mean, those movies rule. I love those movies.
Absolutely. So I got Lone Wolf and Cub, the baby cart, those original Batmobiles, I said. And then I got Lady Snowblood.
I mean, the first one is great. The second one it's a bit of a mess, maybe, but the first one, I love the first one.
The second one, which actually I suspect should probably be in my mailbox, I got A Personal Shopper with Kristen Stewart.
Sure.
And then the Grail, the movie that I've been looking for, I got Antichrist.
Oh, right, the Lars von Trier movie.
Yep, been looking for. I thought it was out of print, so I didn't even, and then I saw someone pull it and said I got Antichrist, and I'm like, oh shit, they had that for sale. Zip right back to the website. Oh yeah, we can get a copy of that before the sale ends. So I was really, really happy, and not only that they're both IFC movies. Antichrist was the first IFC midnight release. So
what is IFC? Sorry.
Independent Film Company.
Oh
my gosh, IFC movies are the best. I'm not sure what they're called over in Europe. I know that they'd have different distribution over there, but here in America, it's they're IFC. If you go to ifc.com, I'll send you the link. You can see all the movies they put out. Oh my gosh, they put out amazing movies. Not everything's a winner, but like you're talking like for every 50 movies they put out, they might have one clunker. I like that. Most of the people in here, most of the people in this chat or hang out with me, they're A24 fans. I'm not really a big A24 guy.
Isn't A24 doing The Green Knight? I'm really looking forward to The Green Knight. I saw that trailer and that seemed really cool.
Yeah, Dev Patel is a really good actor.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he really is. He's totally arresting on camera. I watched him. Go ahead.
He's getting a lot of roles that I think would have gone to a white guy like 10 or 20 years ago, and I think that's like a very interesting and great development. That we're just like, why wouldn't Dev Patel be able to do that role? And of course he is able to do that role because he's an amazing actor, and I think that's awesome.
They're talking about replacing James Bond, and they're going like, well, who should we get James Bond? And I'm going like, they're offering Idris, and I'm going like, hell yes, offer Idris the role.
Yeah, let Lupita Nyong'o play James Bond. That seems like a good casting call.
I mean, I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really fun to watch. And I mean, there's a lot of fresh faces out there that are on the rise. A lot more now. I do think that's one thing streaming has before you would have a chance to build up a star, slowly build up a star. I think a lot now and there are some bad sides to this. There are a lot of roles that are being given to people who are either like social media people or they have like a lot of actors, working actors will tell you this. They'll sit there and say, well, I went in for a part and I got, there. And then one of the things they asked me was, how many followers do I have on my social media accounts. And all I would tell any actor is this: part of your job, it's like a musician. Part of your job now, and this is something actors have truly don't understand this because they never had to do this before, and that is self-promotion is part of your game now. If you want to be known, if you want a job, you have to promote yourself. If you don't promote
Of course.
yourself, who will? Because believe
Yeah.
me, there are so many people out there chasing that same ring. There's nobody going to be up there going up there waving your name up there for it because everybody wants the same ring. So working actors now, they have to learn how to self-promote. Doing this
But I
interview.
don't like that. I don't like that they have to do that.
I
Because the thing is, if you're
trust
an
me.
actor, your specialty isn't promotion, isn't self-promotion. That's not what you're good at. That's not what you have to be good at. That's something so far removed from acting. And I feel the same way about directors. That I so much of me getting money and financing for movies is me like being a salesperson, and I'm not a salesperson. I'm not good at that, and that's difficult.
I agree with you. I don't necessarily think that they should have to do that. I don't, but I think that's how it is now.
Yeah.
Like the auditions, before, the live auditions were in front of casting directors. You go down there, you go inside there, and I was talking to one actor. We're talking to one actor. He says he doesn't really like self-taped because he liked to go down there in person, just basically, saying, "Listen, I'm the right guy for the job." He get to say that to the person face to face.
Yeah.
Now self-tape, he doesn't get that connection anymore. So now
self-tapes are horrible. I hate them. I mean, even an audition process face to face, I think, is horrible because it's still so far removed from actual acting. I try to avoid it as much as I can, and so far I've been able to only do a couple of actual auditions, and most of them I've been able to find through other means. The thing also is, I feel like if you're a professional actor and you've done like an acting school, or you have a theatrical background or something like that, and you're not just some fresh face who decided to be an actor, but you've gone through school or something, you're good. Like pretty much every actor who's gone through acting school is a good actor.
yes.
And if you feel like they're not, it's generally the director's fault, because so much of a performance is a director. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that to put down actors. I'm saying it to put down directors, because I think letting an actor flourish is extremely important, and it's part of directing is getting that person to do their job instead of telling them what you want them to do. And I feel I've felt this way for a long time, and I feel like if I get an actor and this person is a professional actor and I feel like it's going to be good to work with them, the performance will be good. And I don't even necessarily need to see an audition all of the time. I could just watch some other movie that they're in. I could just sit down with them and have dinner, and after that I'll know if he'll be able to do it or not. And that's sort of how I try to do it as much as I can. It's been easy, of course, since I live in the Netherlands and we cast in the Netherlands, and it's just sort of small scale. But auditions, man, I don't like them.
Derek came in. Hi, Derek. How are you? Derek is he's another totally loves Halloween. Halloween the movie, Halloween the season. He's another he's another big movie.
Both are great.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess Halloween Kills is coming out. That's one of the movies that everybody's been talking about. Halloween Kills, and then next year Halloween Ends. So everybody's talking about how that's going to end up. And what do you think? Let's end this on a happy note. If you were directing the next two movies, Halloween Ends or Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, how would you write the end of the story?
Oh man, you shouldn't ask me that question. First of all, I don't think I can make a horror movie. I don't have the chops as a director or writer to make a horror movie. So I wouldn't have no idea how to make a successful horror movie. Mm-hmm. And secondly, I'll have to admit that I haven't been keeping up with all the Halloween movies.
Okay, well, you know the
So I don't
reservoir,
know.
right?
I don't know where it's going. I think Jamie Lee Curtis was back.
Yes.
Is that? But I haven't even seen that one, so I'm really behind. I'm sorry. I'm ashamed.
Don't be. I haven't seen Halloween 2018 either myself, so I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it myself.
I'm
I just got the box set actually from a friend of mine who gave me the heads up. I bought my first box set
right.
from a company called Midnight Atlantic in Italy. It's my very first box set, and then since then I've gotten another box set of the Friday the 13th movies. I'm going down to the rabbit hole. I'm telling you.
Yeah, do it. Buy the stuff. That's what I'm saying. Go and buy the stuff. I bought the in terms of going down the rabbit hole, I got the Zatoichi and Godzilla box sets from Criterion.
You know what? I was thinking about doing the Godzilla box set, but I didn't see it on sale.
I
I
don't
think
know. We don't have the 50% sales that Arrow and Criterion have. We don't have them over here, so I'll never be able to do the sale. So
oh
I
my
just have to buy them at full price. Sadly, yeah,
gosh, it sucks.
that
See,
does
because,
kind of suck.
it does suck because it's like I see. I wanted to get the Gamera set. I was gonna look at the Gamera set. I know when it came out, it was like I think it was like it was like 199 when it first came out, or 189 or something like that. So I
Yeah,
went to
but
go look at
that's the big set that has all like 13 movies, I think.
it.
But if
15.
you buy the two boxes separately, you still have all the same discs, but it's much cheaper. You
Yeah,
just don't have the collector's,
yeah.
box, which is sad because that is kind of a cool box.
The
But
box was really cool. I actually went on Amazon to look at it. I said, "Oh, I'll just take a look at it. Maybe I'll find one copy over there." By the time I decided to go to Amazon to look for this, it was $400.
yeah, it immediately sold out.
I'm just like, there's no way in hell I'm paying $400 for
Yeah,
that box set. Now they want to charge like, see, I'm a cheap collector. I mean, I got
I try to be, but I'm failing.
all my criterions. I actually had saved up all my gift cards that a friend of mine had given me throughout the years, and I knew when the sale was coming, I knew I was going to do that. I was going to save all my gift cards, and then I shot it all one shot. I said, I'm going to wait for the next Criterion sale, and I'm going to do the Criterion sale. So I got all 7 movies based on gift cards. I didn't pay a penny out of my
Oh,
wallet.
good for you, man.
God, but now I got some, and my library's actually been selling their used copies of their Criterions for $1. So now I've gotten 10 Criterion movies from my library for a total of $10.
That's amazing. That's a good
So
find, though.
yeah, yeah. So like you said, physical media it's just gonna be, we're gonna find it. I mean, right now it's like I go inside my library and I'm finding some choice movies. I mean, I'm finding like Disney movies are hard to find. They were
Disney
hard to
movies are
find.
hard to find. Yeah,
They're hard, not only they're hard to find, but they're hard to find in really good condition. But lately, I've gotten
kids have been
tons of,
chewing on them.
yeah, I've gotten tons of Disney. I've gotten tons of Disney in perfect shape because people are getting rid of it because of the streaming. So streaming does have one good thing to it, and that is it's causing people to get rid of their physical media, which falls to people like you and me for next to nothing.
That's
Um,
very true. I just found the complete Rocky box set with all the Rocky movies,
okay,
and it was like $3 or something like that.
see, you can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah,
Listen, I'm going to let you go. I've had a very enjoyable time. I know we're going to do
definitely.
this again sometime soon. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to me.
Of course.
This is, this has been amazing. Like I said, I'm in your debt for your time and your education, and for bringing us Molly and Kill Mode and the lovely Julia, um, and the terrific Colinda, and we'll do this again sometime soon. Are you getting ready for a new movie? Are you prepping up for one, or what do you got going on for that?
Yeah, we've got most of the funding in place for a new movie. It's very different from Molly and Kill Mode. It's not even an action movie, which is the first time I've done that. but I'm very excited about it. It's probably, if you ask me, it's the best script I've ever written by a pretty huge margin. And we've got most of the funding in place. We're looking for that last bit of gap funding. So hopefully within the next couple months, we can figure that out. So ideally, we would shoot it this year, the second half of this year, for it to be released somewhere in 2022, hopefully. But
Hopefully.
I mean, fingers crossed, knock on wood, all that stuff.
And if you do and you get it done, I'll be knocking on wood that it gets released by ISC or ISC midnight.
Who knows? I mean, who knows, right?
You know what? I'm such a slappy for it. You know what? I'm the only one here in our community. They know me as that guy. The ISC. But I just love their movies. I just absolutely am hooked by them. So that's it for this edition of 8 Questions With. Tomorrow we'll be back. We're back tomorrow with screenwriter and film director Michael Cassie, who's actually done something rather unique. He has actually made a werewolf movie with a happy ending. We're going to be talking about Hunter's Moon and Hangman and No Tears in Hell. And then on Thursday, we're back one more time. We're going to be talking to rising young Australian actor Sean Anthony Robinson, and we'll be here at 8 o'clock for that as well. For 8 Questions With. Hopefully you guys can tune in, and we'll see you then. The 14th Warrior. I do not want to kill your name. Oh, Christ, I don't want to kill your name. Thijs.
Thijs.
Oh, see, I didn't kill it. Thank you so much, man. We will see you. I'll see you on Facebook for sure. And right. Yeah, thanks to everybody in the chat for showing up. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Peace.
Bye.